So what exactly is in your toolbox? I'm Jay Cleveland Payne, and I'm going to talk to you for a quick minute about you making yourself into a better you, a more improved version, a more solid version, a more distinct version of you. And this is something that you may not instantly believe that's something I can help you do, because I myself have been going through a bit of a personality crisis over the past few weeks. I've stopped doing what I was normally doing. I've had the opportunity to do all the things that I've wanted to do in life, but all those things were so many different things, it got a bit confusing. So who was I and who am I? I was a radio personality, a radio station producer, a radio station manager. I did have contacts with people across the city, people across the state actually, I could say around the nation, and to talk to people about issues. And I was a small business person who was trying to make their business work by doing more production in media. I was a person who was looking to be a coach in a sense, not really liking the word, but looking to help people improve on themselves. Unfortunately, a lot of those things got wiped out in one fell swoop, and so now I'm just a guy. So how can me being just a guy help you with getting better? And what's this thing about a toolbox? Well, here's what I already knew, but something I had to come to terms with after I was hit with a very sudden change. What was I going to do next? Where was I going next in life? And to use the metaphor of my life being a house, what things need to be taken care of? Now, everyone has a basic set of tools, and if you're a guy, you have a toolbox that you probably got back when you were a teenager, gathering just random tools from bits and pieces of things as things come around. Your dad's old hammer, your grandfather's old vice grips, a couple screwdrivers you picked up somewhere that you just threw in the toolbox. Everyone has a toolbox, a physical toolbox at their home for using for repairs, so that when things go awry, you open up your toolbox, pull out what you have, and hopefully, yes, hopefully, because most of us aren't as organized as we like to think we are, you have the right tool for the right job. Basic tools, hammers, screwdrivers, those are usually there. But there are always other tools that are a bit more complicated. Do you have a tape measure for measuring things? Do you have a leveler to make sure that things are actually level as you hang things? Do you have some of that tape for painting so you can write on it and not mark up the walls? Your actual toolbox in your house, and we have a couple and they're rather lacking, I must say. I'm not really living up to the tool standard. But the actual toolbox in your house serves a purpose for fixing the things around your home. And your toolbox that you own as the set of tools you actually possess, the things you can do and some things you can't do so well, those count as tools as well. You actually, each and every one's possess, and each and every one's also think we're lacking in those tools. But here's what I had to come to terms with when I found out I wasn't exactly who I thought I was, and I had to figure out who the current me, yes, current me is. Not new me. I wasn't a brand new person, but I was in a current state that needed some repairs. Same house with a couple of things that need to be worked on. I had all the tools already necessary, because as a regular person, I've gathered so many just random tools from, hey, this shiny thing looks nice, or that thing looks cool, or there's a sale on these things, let's grab them. My toolbox is not very well organized, but it's actually a lot better stocked than one would believe. Finding the right tool sometimes takes some effort to go through toolbox to toolbox and place to place as things get shuffled. But usually, if there's something that goes wrong, I usually have a tool that will help it out, or enough knowledge to go get another tool to add to my repertoire to use there. My mental toolbox, my skills toolbox, my spiritual toolbox, all those toolboxes, things I possess for the actual inner me, were necessarily to go through to see what tools I had on hand to work on the house that was me. And what I learned was I had more than enough tools to take care of things. I had 2 or 3 hammers, a couple of screwdrivers, 3 sets of needle nose pliers if I needed them, plenty of things to work on. What I didn't have was an actual master list to work on. I knew a lot of things were wrong in the house, and a lot of things were needing of repair. I knew there were a lot of things that I could now call myself and I could now do, but I didn't know which one to work on first, which one was the higher priority that needed to be taken care of in the quicker time, and what I wanted to look like in the end. So as I went through my toolbox, as I went through my stuff, I went through my skills, and I went through all of the things that I've done in the past, all the things I dream of doing in the future, all the things in between the two that I've done and acquired all along the way of building up that, I had to make a decision. It was a very simple decision once I actually made it, but I didn't really know that I had to till I got there. I had to decide who it was I currently was and come to terms with that guy before I can move on to whatever future guy could be. Because I lost a lot of identity in losing an identity, in losing titles. And a lot of us get stuck in those titles, get stuck with those things. There's a lot of mothers that as soon as their children leave the nest, they move out of the house, they're lost without being the daily motherly person, even though they spent 18 or so odd years complaining about the kids and all the work it took to be mothers. There's a lot of men out there who will lose a job or lose a position and find their identity was stuck in that job. And they're no longer the plumber, the electrician, the accountant. They are just the guy. And I'm telling you that whatever it is that you think you've lost, and granted, something has changed, so there is a loss, so don't think that I'm discounting that. But whatever you think you've lost can be easily recovered in a new form, new fashion. You just have to take whatever time it takes, as much time, not more. Don't let someone rush you, but don't let yourself decide to get stuck in that hole too long, to go through your toolboxes. See what tools you have on hand. See what pieces that you know you can use. What tools are a little rusty, a little wear, and need to be tossed away and replaced. And see what you can actually work on in that house. Now, this may sound weird to say, look at your tools first and then look at your house, but look at what you have on hand in inventory, what you can work with first, and then get a gauge on the state of affairs. Then get a look at what's here, what's there, what's worn out, what's not in the actual house, physical or body-wise, mental-wise, spiritual-wise, whatever. Think about what you have on hand to fix things, because you could fix a couple things along the way. Some things it's just a matter of, oh, I can pop this back in right now, I can tweak this at the moment, and see as it goes along, and you'll see that you don't have as many things to work on as you thought. But then there'll be the big things that are very obvious and fairly, you're going to need a fair amount of time to work on. And you'll know what tools you have in hand. And you'll know what tools you don't have. And then you'll figure out whether you need to borrow tools. That means ask for help. Acquire more tools. Get more knowledge. Or whether it's time to maybe give up and move to another house. Maybe that personality that you were stuck with, I say stuck with, is not a personality that actually fit who you really are. And because now that the personality is there, the title's there, the house is in disarray, and it was a house you never should have been in the first place, but you're so used to coming home to that address, it just seems like home. I had to learn, after losing my titles, that those things were things that I did, but not who I am. After shifting and creating and coming up with more titles, new titles, more progressive titles, those are also things that I do, but not who I am. Who I am is a pretty good person, pretty awesome person. You too are just as awesome, just as good. And if no one's told you that today, I'm telling you that right now, and feel free to go back a few times and hear me say it a few more times. You are awesome. And I've got a lot of tools. And if you need to borrow some tools, I'm available so we can discuss this. Check out the links in the video below to see how we can connect on social media. You can stop by my main website, jcoombpayne.net, and other places so that maybe I've got the tool in my toolbox you need to borrow for a while. And believe it or not, every time I loan out a tool, I get assistance and usually a couple tools back in return to work through. So allow me to offer you a little assistance because that's who I am. I help people get to better. You determine what better is, and we'll help get there together. Once again, you are awesome. Thank you so much for sticking through this entire video, because some people don't get a chance to get up this morning. And those that didn't have the desire to get out of bed and do anything, they're in a similar state. We got up. We're making this thing happen together. We got it. We got this.